In this video, Diana shares some tips for DNA research objectives. She talks about how to make sure that your focus is narrow enough but also answerable. Tune in as she shares in this excerpt from Office Hours from Research Like a Pro, tips for DNA research objectives.
I am just doing one slide on tips because we have a lot to talk about. And so because the sub topic of this office hours is research objectives, here are three things that I came up with that I see over and over again with not only our study group projects and e-course projects, but also client work and my own personal research. So the first thing is just really trying to get that objective narrowed down. Sometimes we just bite off too much and we think that we're going to do this great big project and we've got all this time. But once we start adding DNA to that as well and doing our timeline analysis, if it's too broad, it may be that we just get really bogged down and we can't finish. We also want to keep this objective narrow enough so that when we go to write the report, it's not going to be a huge report. It's not really very fun to have to write 50 pages because your objective was so huge. So it's so much better to keep something a little bit more narrow, write a report for maybe 10 to 20 pages, and then do another phase of the project. And then another thing is that you want to make sure you have enough DNA to work with as you are looking at a DNA objective. So if you just do not have very many close cousins on this particular line, or if it's something that you'd love to solve, but there's not enough DNA, you'll likely be better served to wait until maybe more people test or to seek out some people who could test to give you more DNA to work with. So you don't want to, especially at the beginning, make it difficult on yourself. So if you're just getting started and this is maybe your first or second DNA project, make sure you've got a good amount of DNA to work with. And then know that once you get going on the project, this happens so much. You need to do some adjustment. Perhaps you start working on your timeline and you decide that you find so much or you don't find enough. You've just got to either broaden or narrow your objective. It's okay. You don't have to have the perfect objective when you start. We have you form an objective, but there are many times that after I've done the timeline and started looking at the DNA, I do a little bit of adjusting to go move some things around or just do a little bit of work to adjust. So that is totally okay. This is your project. So you don't have to dance to anyone else's tune but your own.